We back at it again. It's the Lab Chronicles. What is this episode? Actually, I started my little thing called File 003. It is the lab after all. And I am your host, yours truly, Slang You, alongside the co-host and co-brethren. Tell them who you are.
Finn, a.k.a. Father Finn, a.k.a. Dr. Melody, a.k.a. all these things.
We in the building today. We got a lot to talk about as usual. But first, start it off. What you been saying, Finn?
Same old, brother. Just trying to cook up and, hit up these artists and try and get some dope music on the streets.
When was the last time you made a beat you like?
Yesterday. I was in the studio with Sibs last night. That's been the first time in a while. I went to Cuba last week, so I'm just getting back into the swing of things. So that's probably the first beat I made in like almost 3 weeks.
So the bones are starting to freeze up and the music is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I went on a run. I made 3 beats in one night and I haven't made a beat in like a week. I've been trying, but it's just not kicking in. But so it go. You have to keep persevering and keep trying. That's how it is. My second question, staple question. What did you listen to on the way over here?
Podcasts.
Which one?
I was listening to Joe Budden podcast.
Scene.
Last music that I listened to, I don't even remember, to be honest. Actually, I heard that Freddie Gibbs and Madlib just dropped a song today.
Oh, yeah?
It's called Flat Tummy Tea.
Perfect.
So that sounds dope. So I think their project is coming soon.
Madlib and Freddie Gibbs. Are they doing an album?
Well, they've done one. They did one before, Pinata.
Yes, that's right.
So I guess it's like the follow-up to that.
It's kind of a strange pairing, but it worked.
Yeah, it definitely. That first
I wouldn't have put
album
that on
was,
paper. As a
the first album they did was pretty dope.
Pretty dope. I was listening to a podcast myself. I was listening to Rat Nerd Problems because he was supposed to be here tonight, but he couldn't make it. But good podcast. Was his interview with Bozark. I've been pretty much, it's weird. I used to listen to podcasts before this, but once we started this, I think that's all I've been listening to. Hardly even music.
Yeah.
The last music I listened to? Yesterday at the gym, I was listening to, is it Goldie? All of my bitches got friends.
Gold Link?
Gold Link.
Yeah.
Gold Link. Yeah.
Actually, maybe we should start actually listening to albums so we can review them.
No, that's not a bad idea, actually. That's actually a really good
The new
idea.
ones that drop.
That's actually really good, yeah. Maybe not even the new ones. I actually have an idea, but we'll talk about it off air. I don't want to give it away before we start it. Well, yeah, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. I wanted to ask, what's your production method? So, like, start to finish as quickly as you can. What do you like to have in order, or what do you not in order? What do you start up? What's on? What's off?
So what I usually do, find a sample, whether it be on vinyl or YouTube or Apple Music. I'll bring it into Logic.
Okay, before even the technical side, because I only want to touch this stuff. What does the room have to be like? Some people are particular like that. Like, are you lighting candle and all them something? Does it matter what's going on around you? You're good to go with the headphones?
I'm really good at multitasking. I could be, you already know
different.
that. I can make a beat where there's like 5 men in the room arguing about LeBron James and shit. And I could just zero in. But I don't really need no kind of mood. I mean, maybe it helps, but I don't really know the difference in that way, yeah. So usually I'll just grab a sample and throw it into Logic. I'll chop it, or at least get the loop, stretch it, basically lock it to the grid so that I could manipulate the tempo. And then, depending on how I feel, I might either play the drums live in machine, or I'll try and get a break beat and, either chop up the break beat or just loop the break beat under the drums. And then if I brought it into machine, I'll bring it back into Logic, the whole thing back into Logic, and then I'll play the bass line. Usually the bass line is the last. So usually the steps is sample, drums, bass line. That's usually the formula.
All right. What's the BPM zone that you're in right now?
Because of a lot of the artists that I've been working with is on an more underground, grimy shit. Anywhere from like 75 to like 85, I would say.
Scene.
Yeah.
And do you have a special place, like where you prefer to make beats?
Not really.
That doesn't really matter to you?
It just kind of, I would say that the late 70s, early 80s.
Sample levels. Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, we're similar in the technical method. That's pretty much how I do it. But starting with how the room, quote unquote, is set, depends on where I am. But I do like to, as you know, make beats at work. I have a privileged job. Don't hate on me.
See.
But I just like to. I don't know what it is. I think that's because kind of how I started making my better beats, and now my brain is programmed to that's where I'm gonna make the best stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's me too. I'm spoiled to the studio. Like it was a long time I couldn't even make beats at home.
Yeah, it's the opposite for me. And I've made a 1-2 beat at the lab, but most of my beats are at work. Not even at home. They're at work. I'll make a 1-2 beat at home. At least in the last, I want to say 6 months, is usually at work. But yeah, it's usually at work. I like to have, not like Finn with the 50 man in the background arguing if Chris Bosh is the best rapper of all time. I just like to have something else. So I'll usually put on a YouTube or the TV if I'm home. I'll put YouTube on a different screen or a movie, even a show to play. I think I'm weird. I don't think I can totally focus on making the beat itself for the whole time. So I give myself mental breaks, look over at the TV, come back to the beat, listen to it again, da-da-da.
Yeah. When I'm at home, I'll do that too. Like I'll have the basketball game on or just like a random YouTube playlist on, and then...
Even if I'm at the studio by myself, I tend to do that.
Yeah.
Usually, in almost if I'm by myself, that's what I'll do. I will put on something else. And everything else is almost the same. It's usually sample first. Actually, it's usually bass second for me. Especially if I can pull the bass like out of the sample. If it's already in my head, I would rather get it down than miss it type thing. Or if I'm, again, pulling it out of the sample, doing the low pass and making a bass line out of what's already there, that thing. But other than that, it's usually sample, bass, then drums, and then I try to look at the sprinkles on top of the ice cream. Try to come up with, okay, maybe there needs to be something...
Some keys.
Some accents, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
On top of it.
Okay.
And that's pretty much, that's my method.
Pretty much the same. Sometimes I will do the bass before the drums, but for the most part, it's
drums
sample,
before bass.
Drums,
or sample.
BS.
Drums, BS. And I'm in the same BPMs. I'm kind of trying to get out of it at the same time because I don't want to get too used to just making one BPM and then the whole trend changes. Yeah. But
But I mean, I dabble a little bit more into like I guess you would call it trap.
Yeah.
A little bit more bouncy. So that in that sense, I'll mix it up.
Oh, okay.
So I might go to 150, which is really 75, but just a different bop.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the 95 because when I started producing, like when we did Beat Chef stuff, that was kind of where I was, 90, 95.
See.
It's pretty much since the pre-gold era, that's when the 80s started. The 80s, and I still find it difficult to go down to like 75, 70, but I do it. I do it. Sometimes it just sounds too slow and draggy to me, but I can do it. It's damn easy to rap on, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
That's for sure. How do you know a beat's done?
Actually, I haven't, throughout my whole career of making beats, I haven't really gone back to old beats very much and tweaked them, but as of recently, I have actually done that. Like, Actually, a couple of the beats that I'm working with A-Sun with, after he rapped on it, I've actually gone back and like tweaked the bass line or shit like that. But a lot of times it's just like, once the formula's down, if I can't think of anything on the spot to add sprinkles to,
not bothered.
For that, usually to hi-hat, snare, kick, bass, sample, and then maybe if I could think of one more element, then other than that, it's just like, a lot of times I leave it up to the vocals to finish the beat.
So how many elements on average you say you put on a beat?
Or
say, even max and min? What's the most, what's the least?
The least is one.
Yeah,
a straight loop.
Right. Yeah.
Or like two if I'm adding drums.
Drums to it, yeah.
Or 2 minimum, maybe like max, maybe like 7, 8.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm sure I've had beats with more, but just like
that's the
for the most part, like I'm not gonna add 50 different because I don't play.
When I first started, I used to add just because I just wanted to. I didn't want it to get monotonous, so that's what I was worried about. So I'm always adding, and then I realized, okay, you don't need all that. More time, like you said, the artist is the other instrument.
Exactly, and a lot of times I'll switch it up just by sequencing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll take the hi-hat out or, take out one of the kicks if I layer the kicks just to give it a little bit more breathing room.
So a lot of your hit songs or whatever, your hit production or your best production, it's literally the difference between the chorus and the verse is a hi-hat.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes that's all it is. Or they bring the bass back. They didn't have the bass for the whole verse, and they bring the bass back in.
Or filter out the melody.
Filter out the melody. Simple changes. So... for all those young producers out there, don't rack your brain on how to make it sound different throughout the beat. And half the time, speaking from experience, I sometimes pick the part of the beat to write to anyway.
Yeah.
So we don't even need all the bells and whistles, quote unquote.
And a lot of times when you're first making beats, or a lot of times, I mean, even experienced producers do that. They make beats for other producers to be impressed.
That's true.
But when really it's you got to leave room for the artist, especially if they're singing on it. Yeah. It's got to be damn near empty because it's going to clash. Melodies are going to clash, and it's just going to sound like a mess.
Yeah. There's actually a method that I remember now. Shout out Moss. Moss used to send you the bare bones of the beat. Well, you didn't know that.
Yeah.
As an artist, and you write, do whatever you do. Record it, send it back to him, and then he would add the stuff that he thought matched what you're rapping about and send it back to you. He'd be like, yo, where did all this come from, bro? What's all this stuff? And I'm not even saying the changes were major changes to change the beat to the point where it's like, whoa, this is not even the same beat. It's little subtle stuff, same type of stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
That he would add back in, and it'd be like, oh.
Yeah, the sequencing makes a huge difference after the fact.
That's why I guess nowadays they're saying producers got to do everything. You got to be your engineer too.
Yeah, I've learned that the better that, the more that I learn about mixing, I feel like the better producer I become because I can make my beat sound that much better because I know where it's supposed to be, the levels, and it's not clipping and.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And you want to be satisfied with your product.
Exactly. Especially nowadays where a lot of the artists pretty much all the artists we're working with are not signed, so there's no big budget to get mixed and mastered. So most of the time I'm mixing and mastering the product after the fact anyways.
Yeah. You know what I maybe it's my limited experience. You have a little bit more. I don't find today's artists, or at least the ones that I've come in contact with, too concerned with the final product.
As far as like the quality?
Maybe it's a trust thing. They just, not even the quality, even just anything. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times when I see you'll make the beat, send it to the guy sends you the verse back with the beat, but do they ask you for the final before you put it out? I mean, you do it as a professional courtesy, but do you think they care that much?
Maybe they just don't know. I don't know. Like, anything that I put out with artists is usually a group, like a joint effort. So it's like I'm gonna be quality control anyways, but I don't know if anybody is. And a lot of times I'll volunteer
to
to
do
mix
all
it.
that.
Yeah, because I want to just like leave. Even if it's a shit mix, at least I know I made the shit mix. It's in my
Nobody to
hands.
blame.
Yeah,
Nobody to blame. Because my limited with a dirty pen and cyanide and DNA, there was no.
yeah, they didn't care.
Yeah, there was no
Like,
reach back. Like I can't even say because I don't want to say cyanide didn't care. Cyanide definitely cared. DNA, not so much. But cyanide definitely cared. I just don't know if I think maybe there was a trust there because the relationship's there. It's a little different than sending it to a man you've never met.
Yeah, that's true.
That type, so it could be that.
And he did it here, so it's like
That's true too.
I guess
Pretty
he's
much
just
heard it.
assuming, yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't even know DNA was going to be on it when I sent it to him. That's part of it. And he didn't. It was a good verse. It was dope, so he didn't mind. But stuff like that, I could see when I was coming up, artists being more. I don't want that guy on it already. Even if it is dope, but much more competitive time too. So that could be it too as well.
That's true.
Shoot, there was something else I was just about to ask along these same lines. Okay, so speaking of sending out beats, have you ever gotten a harsh rejection, and how did you manage it if you did?
I've gotten rejection, but not like
No
disrespectful.
disrespect?
Yeah, like, and that's fine, like, because there's so many different types of beats. And I talked about this on one of these other podcasts that I was on when it came to the Mav project. Like, I sent him a couple beats, and he was like, "Nah."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like it's as simple as that. Like,
You can't take it personal.
I can't take it personal because he's not. That's not his style. You know what I
Right,
mean? Some of those
right.
beats that he refused ended up getting used somewhere else anyway. So if I was to take offense to that and be like, "Oh, this beat is shit," nobody's gonna like it. And woe is me. Then you know you can't be like that.
You can't get attached to them, man. I had to learn that. I can't. I'm not saying I got vexed, and I didn't actually ever get a direct no, which I find more upsetting if it was upsetting. I rather know you don't like it than I'm wondering
Just
what's
sitting
going
on
on.
it, yeah.
But I can't take it personally. Just keep sending them, and eventually they'll either take it or they won't. Somebody will take it.
Exactly.
And what I also find is most of the beats that I love is not always the case for everybody else.
Almost always.
Almost always not the case. And the beats that I think are, that's all right. Yo, that's dope, fam. Send me that, fam. What are you dealing with?
I get those
You're
ones too.
joking.
But
Send
actually,
me that one.
for the Mav project in specific, I was pretty like once I figured out what he wanted,
You're good with it.
I was like I knew what to send him after that. It's like okay, he's gonna like this. He's gonna, and he pretty much did from there on out.
That's the key to reading the artist. Not fortune telling, but reading.
Yeah.
So after they've given you an idea of what they like, you should be able to pick up on what to send them.
Yeah,
Should be able to. Not everybody's good at that. That's why they made A&Rs, although they don't make them no more. Too tough. But yeah, you can't. Rule number one in entertainment in general, this business, you can't take it personal.
No.
Or you're gonna sit in your basement and scratching out all your hair and dying from malnourishment.
Straight
Because
up.
you don't want to leave your room and you're afraid that people don't like your music. You make the music till you like it, and send it out.
Yeah, and once you get the acknowledgement for one or two songs, you got to know that you have the talent.
Exactly.
So it's like at this point, it's just a matter of preference when it comes to certain beats.
And the other side of it, I'm saying make the music you like, but don't overthink it either. Like, I know it's difficult. This is what artists do. Creatives do this. We're our worst critics, but you do have to let it go. Like you do. You can't. You'll never know how good you are or how bad you are. Let me rephrase that. How good you are or how much you need to grow if you don't get that criticism from other people.
Yeah, let it go. Like Elsa.
Yep, let it go. All right, we change. Yeah, you know what? Let's go to the segment called the Top 5. Top 5. We're going to do WuTang albums. Top 5 WuTang albums.
So the last episode, we kind of started this. That's why I came up with this idea.
It's a good idea still.
Because we kind of had difference of opinion.
Yeah. Probably still do.
Probably still do. Because truthfully, I probably only have one WuTang album, like group album, in the top 5.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Me too. That's a fact.
And if we're going in order, like I said last time, my first one would be Only Built for Cuban Links. Would be my number 1 in order.
So are we shotting for shotting again? You're gonna shot for shot?
Yeah, we can go shot for shot.
5 shot out.
And if we overlaps, then it is what it is.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I have more than my designated 5.
No order, right?
Well, Cuban
as
Links,
much as you can.
Cuban Links is
your
number
one.
One for me, but other than that, not really no order.
So we'll make it simple because if you listen to the last episode, I put 36 Chambers as my number 1.
Okay, so I would put I put 36 Chambers as my 3rd, and my second one would be Supreme Clientele.
Okay.
Ghostface album.
Okay. So you clearly love Wallabies. My second is Only Built for Cuban Links.
Okay.
So I might as well just go to my 3rd, which is Tikal.
Tikal over Supreme Clientele?
Yeah.
Fam?
The thing is, I'm going to tell you why. It's moments for me, too. Like J. Cole said, we can't expect the same thing from our artists today that we got when we were like 16 years old.
Yeah.
Because it's the way I felt about it. So when Method was my favorite WuTang member, with 36 Chambers, and his was the first album, right? First solo?
Yeah.
That's right?
Yeah, he was the first and Old Dirty was next.
Yeah. So when his solo was highly anticipated, and when I first heard that Bring the Pain be... I think it changed my rap style. Like, it changed almost everything.
I was big on Method Man still. So I already said, okay, Enter the 36 is my 3rd. So my 4th one, actually, this is pretty much going in order. I don't know. It might be that Method Man, or possibly, if we're going by what I listen to the most, it would probably be the... it's a toss-up between those two. It's either Old Dirty or Method Man. I'll probably put Tikal because I did like that album. Yeah. That would probably be my 4th. Yeah, I'll stick with that one.
See, that's the thing with me. When I'm making lists, it's not even only... I can agree that Supreme Clientele is a better album than Tikal. It's just not better to me.
Yeah.
That's all it is. But I agree overall... Supreme Clientele is a better made album than Tikal is. Yeah. But to me, not to me, Tikal set the table for all those albums.
The thing about the Method Man album was like, because it was the first out the gate, I feel like it was less of a WuTang album as the rest. Even Old Dirty, because there's so many posse cuts on those other albums, and there's not really much other than maybe, PLO style. Yeah. Other than that, I can't really think.
I can't really think either.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true though. And I think it's because Method Man was already slated to be the solo artist. Like out there, he was the first one to get the deal and blah blah blah. So.
And he's only one with a solo song on the group album.
Yeah, he was ready. So I think that they didn't even really need to. When the 36 Chambers blew up the way that it did, they weren't. They probably, if they could have redid it, but they probably already had Tikal almost done already. Yeah. By that time.
I feel like they did. Wasn't the Method Man remix on the Tikal album?
Yes. Yeah. That is true. Yeah. Yeah. So from what are we 4? I'm on 4, right? Because you did 4 or 5
4,
pretty
basically.
Much.
I mean, I don't know. Because it might change in the next 5 minutes. Because there's so many albums that.
All right, let me do 4 and then we'll come back to you. So 4 for me is Supreme Clientele. I'll put Supreme Clientele on there then. For 4 for sure.
Yeah, that's arguably the best.
It's definitely the most polished.
Yes,
definitely the peak.
Yes,
of WuTang.
Because there's the karate element, and then it got into the soul element more so than anything else. Yeah, really,
I agree.
You know,
which is
with the nutmeg and
he's continued that till this day.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of like it's more, I guess. Eclectic would be the word.
I could agree with that. Ghost makes the best albums overall of these guys.
So, my last one, because there's about 4 of them that could have made the cut. Because I like the WuTang Forever album, even though it was a double album. Yeah. I like the Iron Man album.
Yeah, Iron Man's heavy, actually.
I like the Liquid Swords album.
That's, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The only man that doesn't make it is probably you, God, or something.
You Capadonna on the Monday.
And Capadonna's album was pretty good, too.
Yeah. I would probably go with Liquid Swords today.
Yeah, that's my 5-2.
Today.
That is my 5-2.
Because it's kind of like, even though a lot of people say that's the best Wu-Tang album, I wouldn't say that. But I've heard that. I've heard that argument. Yeah, I've heard that argument. And
it was fire.
Yeah.
I think that album is like it's like a bridge between a Tikal and a Supreme almost.
Yeah.
And it was hip hoppy, more hip hoppy than
it had all the Wu-Tang elements, the kung fu movies and lyrics, posse cuts, and
because it's more lyrical, that's why it's on my list. ODB's right there though.
Yeah,
it's like right there.
That could have went anywhere in the list.
Anywhere in the list, it's right there. And I'm not the biggest ODB fan.
Yeah.
Next to probably I can't even say that. I was gonna say he's like my second least favorite, but he's not.
No.
He's not my second least. But he's not at the top of he's in the middle somewhere.
I guess that's another top 5 list.
That is another top 5 list. That is, you'll be surprised in mine, I'm telling you, because RZA's not going to
out of 9, you got to put in top 5.
You must can't come up with
It's not that far. It's not that hard, I guess.
Not. So, do you think RZA's underrated?
Yes, that's another thing I was going to say, because when we were talking about producer lists, we were talking about for last year specifically, but just like overall, we did do an overall.
We did overall, but we didn't. I don't even think we mentioned it.
We didn't even mention it, man. That's the thing. He kind of goes under the radar, and he has such a big body of work. Not to say he was producing all those albums, but he has major production on all of those albums.
Yeah, and otherwise.
And the group collective albums. You know what I mean?
You know what I think happened to RZA though is. It was almost weird to say, but it was almost too specific a sound.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't hear other artists on those beats too tough.
Well, I mean, it's only because he basically brought the style in with him, but now you hear the influences. Even I'm sure I got definitely some of that influence, definitely. But it's like. Now, looking back at it, I'm sure you could have heard like Nas on RZA beats. Well, you did. Yeah. Exactly, but just like...
But not for himself. Did Nas have a RZA beat on his own?
No, I was talking more on the Cuban Links.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was almost like other artists didn't pick RZA to produce for them. It was either you were on a Wu-Tang related album, and that's the way you got on the RZA beat.
Yeah, but
or he wasn't.
Looking back, you would think that any of those grimy New York artists, I'm sure you could have heard like Helter Skelter on a.
Yeah, looking back, you
know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure it would have.
But that's why it's weird. That's why I'm saying I think it was too much of a niche for him that even the artists of their time didn't hear themselves on those beats.
Maybe.
They heard them, or it's that when we get Riz up here at interview, we'll ask him. Or it was that he didn't want to produce outside the crew too tough. Like they wanted to keep it all in house.
Maybe nobody reached out, or he just didn't have enough beats to go around the amount of work he was putting in.
Right there. That's true too.
You know what I mean? Because we heard Jay-Z on the RZA beat after the fact on the Watch the Throne.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? He's kind of like in that same kind of Havoc lane, because
even Havoc did a lot more.
He did
work
after the fact, though. Like there was still once he was in his lane. Once after those first three Mobb Deep albums, then he kind of started to branch out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Unless I gotta go look at his discography. I know the only one I could think of off the top of my head was the Biggie song he did. You're Nobody. Was it that one? You're Nobody till someone kills you.
Was Life After
or Long Kiss Goodbye.
Was that Life After Death?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the only one I could think of off top, like notable.
Yeah, until later when he started working with like Mary J. Blige and all kinds of other people. But yeah, maybe it's just like them times it wasn't as socially accepted to be producing for everybody.
Nah, it was though, because that's Nas Illmatic. That was the beginning of that stuff.
Yeah, but that was like a group of producers coming together.
Yeah. That's what I mean is he would have or should have. Well, not Illmatic particularly, but there should have been times where guys like Nas did say, "Hey, RZA."
Yeah.
Especially a guy like Nas, who was working with Raekwon and Ghost regular. That was happening. So yeah, he's underrated. Definitely underrated, though. Definitely underrated.
For sure. He probably would have made my top 5 today if we did the list today.
Well, yeah, considering thinking about the other thing is his reign was so linked to WuTang that when the MCs kind of fell off, so did he. Yeah. Or when they all stopped messing with each other the same way, he fell off because he didn't have nobody to produce for. Yeah. There was like all of those guys left him, so to speak. Well, or he left them, whichever way you want to put it.
True.
Side go. They come in together, go out single. So this one is a little offish but onish. Talking about man like R. Kelly, as I affectionately call him, Rape Kelly. Man like Justice Smollett, a.k.a. Lime Pyre.
Lucius Lyad.
You have, what's that kid that just recently got arrested? I don't know how big he is, but because I just heard about it. YMW Melly or Welly or Wheezy or something. He killed off his 2 brethren and staged it like a drive-by shooting. I don't know how he got away with it.
And then rapped about it.
It must have been a pretty good mock scene for him to get away with it it was like a year.
Oh, yeah?
I think it's that long.
I know nothing about it. I just know that he killed his friends.
Some vibes like that. Yeah, which is all you really need to do at the end of the day. He did some Bishop from Juice.
Yeah, exactly.
Took out the man him. But the question really is, does the scandals or the negative press that artists get affect the way that you listen to the music or affect how you feel about the music?
To me, it depends on the offense. It's subjective. It's like every case it's a case by case scenario, because R. Kelly on one hand, I'm done with R. Kelly, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been done with him though.
You know, like I don't know if you remember that kid. What's his name? TK.
The one who rapped about going on the run, or he's on the run?
That song is hard.
I know, I never really heard it still. I never really listened to it.
The song is hard still. And just like that YW Melly, I heard a snippet of the song and like, yo, this shit sounds hard. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but it's not like, I would not listen to it because, you know what I mean? Not to say murder is something to take lightly, but... it all depends on the offense, because there's all artists that do shit that I don't agree with. Yeah. If that's the case, there's a lot of rappers we wouldn't be listening to. You know, we wouldn't be listening to Bobby Brown or...
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? So the offense is very important. What type of offense? The type of offense.
And linked with that, it kind of depends on the type of offense and then what kind of music they're making at the same time. Like, I get like the R. Kelly thing. I had to lock him off because now all I hear is him singing to these little girls. Yeah. So it doesn't work. I can't. Before, when he's singing, I used to hear myself talking to a girl. Yeah. But now all I hear is the Pied Piper trying to lead the children out of the town. I can't deal with it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any other examples, but I mean, you know, there's a lot of domestic abusers and you know.
There's somebody else I've locked off too because of this, and I don't remember who it is right now. Which is not good.
Pedophilia?
I don't know if it's pedophilia or rape.
Chris Brown or...
It's not Chris Brown. So I didn't really believe that.
Mystical?
Mystical, I don't even need to lock him off. He locked himself off. Is he coming out soon or something like that?
I don't know.
But here's an example, because they're coming out with one of those documentaries for Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Although... I don't believe it. I'm going to go on record. I don't. I haven't watched it yet, so maybe if I watch it, I might feel differently, which that shouldn't be the case either. Anyway, what if him being such an icon and a legend, what if you do watch it and be like, God damn, Mike, you think it's gonna change how you listen to him?
No.
I don't think so
Because
either. But what's the difference?
I don't know. It's just bullshit detector. Like, first of all, there's motive for them to not want Michael to win.
Yeah, but okay. So I agree with what you're saying, but take out the fact that you don't believe it. I'm saying you do believe it. Do you think you would feel differently about listening to him?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
If I believed it, then I would, because even when he was alive and all that shit was coming out, a lot of people did believe it, and then the kids came out and said, "Oh, my parents told me to it's a lie."
Yeah.
And then now these kids are going back again and now saying, "No, we weren't lying."
Yeah,
it's
because
like,
it's the money.
come on.
'Cause I can't lie to you. I kind of believed it when it was being said back in the day because it made sense. Michael was weird.
Yeah.
So and he acted like a pygmy.
Exactly.
So it
and
made
those
sense.
things, the things that he was doing were weird.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was doing what they were accusing of.
I agree.
Like, I still wouldn't send my kid to Michael Jackson's house
Just in case.
unsupervised.
Well, you wouldn't send your kid to almost any stranger's house. Just because he's Michael doesn't make no difference.
Exactly.
That's what the problem is with these parents, and that's why they want to get the money now, if it's true or not.
It's almost like they're sending them hoping he does do something.
Anyway, we don't have a lawyer yet. So for me, I was trying to think about it. I'm thinking, am I being hypocritical if I feel like Mike did it? Does his music affect me differently? And I don't think it does for me, and it might be hypocritical. I think it's partially because I've been with that music so long before my mind changed.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm pretty sure this documentary is not going to change my mind.
Yeah, I actually don't expect to watch it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I didn't even finish the R. Kelly, but that's a different reason.
Yeah.
This was too disgusted. I couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
I still got like 2 episodes to go, and every time I turn it on, I got to turn it right back off.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I want to fight him every time.
There's just like natural instinct that you could detect bullshit. And shout out to Sims. Ask him if you think I'm joking. I told him as soon as that Jussie Smollett shit came out, I told him, I'm like, yo, he's full of shit.
Me too.
No.
I wasn't that. I said, nah, something.
No, I told
something's
him.
off. You know what it was? I didn't want to say it was.
Oh.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to come out, which is why he did what he did.
Yeah, I said it between, a personal conversation between me and, you know what I mean?
Nah, it just seemed too damn perfect, bro. The whole thing seemed...
It didn't make any sense.
It didn't make much sense.
It didn't make sense. Like, first of all, that specific weekend was one of the cold... It was like minus 40 Fahrenheit in friggin' Chicago.
Oh, I didn't even know
Who's just walking around with a bottle of bleach and a noose at 2 o'clock in the morning in that weather? There was just too many red flags. I was just like,
looking for black man in Chicago. Chicago,
Exactly.
Chicago. Come on, bro. Maybe if you're in some rural city somewhere out like Texas or North Carolina, you might have got away with that. But it was just too perfect. Too many, the MAGA hat, the noose, the bleach. Not only did they call you a nigger, but they called you a faggot too, bro.
Yeah.
They had to double up.
Yeah. And then they're like, oh, aren't you the guy from Empire?
Yeah,
like,
come on. It's too cold to look a man in their face, fam.
Yeah.
So when it's that cold, I'm looking down or straight to my destination because I'm not looking at nobody. I'm angry.
That's probably the worst case of self-sabotage I've seen in a long time. Because apparently
his career should be done.
Apparently he's going to go to jail. He has felony charges on him. I just heard that shit today. He has felony charges on him.
And the thing about it is he didn't know when to quit because I think he was mouthing the police off in certain ways, like in press.
Yeah.
Saying how they didn't care and
you kind of have to double down.
Nah, fam.
You kind of have to.
I see what you're saying.
Once you reach that far, you got to double down.
I see what you're saying. You might as well.
Yeah.
You might as well. But there's a limit. I'm not saying you don't double down. I say you shut up. Like the man did an interview after. Yeah. I think
First of all, he did a press conference about his own attack, but he had cue cards. That was another red flag to me.
That's an red flag.
Why do you need cue cards when all you have to do is talk about what the hell just happened?
And he went and did a next interview
saying he's the gay Tupac.
All them fuck
back and
Jussie.
The memes, though,
Jussie.
they're gonna meme him to death before he goes to jail.
Yeah, it's not gonna work out.
To be honest with you, I feel bad for. I don't wish jail on him.
No, not jail. Definitely not jail.
But
Definitely not jail. Definitely
at this point, like, fuck.
Definitely not jail. But if he was doing it just to stay on Empire, there's other shows, B. I don't know what it is. And you sing. You have more than one talent.
But the thing is, anyone that's on that show, they basically sign a 360 deal. So any music that comes out, even if it's not affiliated with Empire,
they control it, or their label,
or they have something to do with it. So it's like if you're not on that show, then your career is in the hands of Fox, basically. But anyways,
Jussie. Anyway, did you watch the NBA All-Star performances?
I did. I watched Meek Mill, and then I watched. Well, that's only two.
Him and J. Cole in it?
Yeah.
How did you find them?
Hey, they make the NFL look like a friggin' slave plantation.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Adam Silver is probably the best commissioner in sports. Period.
That's
history of all time.
But apparently they asked him to take over their league too. They approached him. A few owners requested him to commission the. I don't know if it's could commission the NFL or help them. I don't know, in some capacity.
They need it, bro.
They definitely need it.
But I mean, what could they do? That's you know what I mean. Like they're not going to change old people's minds.
Not all rich people.
Yeah, exactly.
They have no reason to. I mean, this is not along our production music lines, but I'm very interested to ask, and since we're on the NFL talk, what do you think about Kaepernick taking the settlement?
I think you're supposed to.
Why do you say that?
Because what did you fight for? Like you stood for what you believe in, and now you're getting a settlement. What are you supposed to not take the money? Why would you not take the money?
I agree. Some people will say that by taking the money, it makes him look like he got bought up.
No, because he's still not standing for the national anthem.
And it's not like they even put in a rule that he has to.
Exactly.
So he's not defeated at all.
I would even go as far to say I wouldn't even blame him if he played for the NFL.
No, they're saying that his lawyer apparently, unless this is some social media news, apparently quote saying that he believes either the Patriots, I want to say the Patriots, and there's another team, so I'm not sure who the other team was, will probably cite him. I want to say Panthers, but don't quote me on that. He definitely said Patriots.
Hey, that's a good PR move for those teams.
I want to see him back in the league for the reason that he won the settlement, even if it's for 1 year.
I want to see him in the league because he wants to play in the league.
Well, ultimately, that's the case.
You know what I mean? If he doesn't want to play,
he should be allowed to.
Yeah, he should be allowed to. And you know what I mean? If I don't know, it is what it is, bro. If he wants to play, he stood up for he took the arrows in the back for all these other people to
that's what I'm saying.
Do what they're doing, and no one else batted an eye. So it's like, take
Malcolm
the money.
X didn't get no payout. Martin Luther didn't get no money.
Take the money.
As far as I know, they died almost penniless, and their families were struggling. And look what those guys did for us, Medgar Evers and all them Monday. So it's about time. Even freaking John Carlos and those guys who held up the fist. Those guys literally lost their lives.
Yep. Muhammad Ali
literally, man, lost their livelihoods and their lives as they knew it at that time to stand up for their people. Mm-hmm. And they didn't get a dime in return for it. So Colin Kaepernick, thank God you got a dime. I'm happy I saw that in my lifetime. That's almost bigger than Obama being president.
Straight up.
Seeing it. One of our activists get the money that he deserved. And maybe even more.
Yeah, I agree. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he can't do what he's grown up his whole life, dreaming to do. He can't play football anymore.
And the man was donating what was left of, the money he had from football to various organizations. And on top of that, we don't know. They say it's estimated, well, as far as I've read, 80 to 90 or something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But 80 to 90 million. You could take that and do a lot of good with it.
Yep.
And if the man does no more quote-unquote good, he did enough.
Exactly. He's done more than the average person.
Well, but I don't see him cutting the afro anytime soon, so big up. Yeah, man. That's where were we at? We had an hour 44? Is that what that is?
No, 45.
Oh, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to touch?
No, we're good.
So it's a short one?
We had a
It's not even
bonus
that short.
episode on Sunday, so
Oh, there you have it. So, it's been a next edition of the Lab Chronicles. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening to yours truly, Slang Hugh, and my co-brethren, co-host.
Finn, a.k.a. Father Finn, Dr. Melody, all these a.k.a.s. Make sure you guys go to the Gold Era Music Instagram. Go to golderamusic.com. Cop all the projects that we got. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Gold Era. Everything, man. Follow all of us. Follow me specifically, MC DJ Finn. Follow Sibs at Sibs Rock. Follow Slang.
Slang you everywhere. Twitter, IG, Facebook. Yeah, even YouTube too. Like, follow, subscribe. Everything.
Straight.
And we out from the Lab Chronicles, the place where the producers chop it up. Peace.